together, correct?
In a way, yeah.
And then we have Charles Band, who everyone will know from the original Puppet Master films. And for new productions, please swing by their booths. Udo, welcome! You can come join us over here, sir, or you can sit on the table. It's really, we're flexible. Oh, right over here. And then we have Michael Puri, who plays Detective Brown in the movie, correct?
That's right. Hooray.
Hooray, thank you.
Hooray, dear.
Hooray.
The film was French.
And then we have our special effects guru and puppet master on set, Tate Steinson.
Who tortured me every day 2.5 hours.
I feel like there are stories there that we're going to get to. So I want to start with Dallas, and it's an apple tree. He's examining the tattoo on my neck. It's an apple tree. My parents lived in an apple orchard. Everyone wanted to know about that. I'm sure. Welcome, everyone. So Dallas, let's start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about how this project first came together? I know it's being written by the guy who wrote Bone Tomahawk, how he kind of got involved in the project, and who first said, you know what, guys, let's try to do Puppet Master.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up on the movie. I was 9 years old when it came out, and interestingly enough, I'm the same age now that Charles was when he produced the first Puppet Master. So I thought that was pretty cool. But
not cool.
it's cool. So I ended up meeting Charles through my wife, who was his publicist at the time, and it took several meetings and lots of money to convince him to give me the rights. And then I said to Craig Zoller, who I have a relationship with from Bone Tomahawk, I said, what do you think about Puppet Master? And he said, love the original movie. I have a take on this that can do something different and create a sort of a unique parallel universe. Let's go do it. So we partnered up with Lorenzo de Bonaventura from the Transformers in 1408, and we got the script done, and we took it around Hollywood, and it was a tough sell for a bigger budget studio film. And so I asked Lorenzo for permission to go make it independently, and he let me do it, and we went and did it.
Great. Now I'm going to back up a bit to where you mentioned that you had to, kind of talk with Charles. Now, surely this isn't the first time someone has approached you about possibly doing a Puppet Master version. What was it that these guys brought that you were impressed by that finally made you say yes?
Just Dallas. I like Dallas. He was cool. I go a lot by my sort of gut, and I have been approached before, and he pushed now a lot for some of the other movies I've done, like Trancers and Subspecies and Demonic Toys. But I'm not a big fan of remakes and sequels. I've seen a lot of the films I grew up with in the 80s being remade. They kind of suck.
Barely,
maybe like this.
You kind of got to get personal with these mics, like way up.
Like old school mic.
Take it off, too.
No, no, I met Dallas, who kind of a mover and shaker, cool dude, and I met him through his wife, who I liked a lot, who was our PR chick.
That's right.
Publicity person.
PR chick's good.
And she started saying, my husband this, that, and he manages and a fan, and we met. I thought, this guy's really cool. And I liked his taste, and the Bone Tomahawk thing was cool. I must have put my younger son to work, that was cool. So, no, and then it just made sense. I said, okay. And then, Lorenzo de Aventura, that's a credible name, Transformers. And then even though he moved out and just became more of an independent film, I just felt that was a good film.
Now, from the get-go, knowing that you kind of didn't want this to be kind of a standard remake, what steps did you take to really kind of separate yourself from that?
Well, so in my relationship with Craig Zoller as his producing partner, essentially, we have a rule that I handle the business side and he handles the creative side. So Craig wrote the script, and we greenlit the original draft. So there was no notes, there was no development, no nothing. He took the title, Puppet Master. He took the name of the character, Andre Toulon. He took.
Right here.
He took 4 of the original puppets.
Which puppets did you choose?
So we took Blade, Tunneler, Torch, and Pinhead.
Damn fine choices.
Yeah, and so every other puppet in the movie is different and original, and then we have we worked with Tate, who created all of the new designs based on Zoller's script, and even redesigned the original 4 puppets, which you guys will see some of them today. We brought 2 originals and one of the new ones.
Wow. Now, Tate, how did you approach this? I mean, had you been like a big fan of the Puppet Master canon going into this, and how did you kind of put your own stamp on everything?
Oh, absolutely. I've been a fan of this series since I was a kid. It was it was one of the first horror movies I ever got to see. My mom wouldn't let me watch horror films, so I lied to her and told her it was a Jim Henson film.
Totally had leech women in many of
She didn't read too far into it. She was like, oh, puppets, he's probably telling the truth. So, no, I mean, I was absolutely blown away. I did my best to play cool on the phone with Dallas and be like, yeah, no, I'm kind of interested, no big deal. But yeah, I was losing my mind, and just getting the opportunity to take such iconic characters and even getting to toy with them at all, much less redesign them and then add to that mythos. I was blown away. I'm so honored. I can't wait to see this film.
Now, how difficult were they to work with? Because I've always been told, like, actors, you know, you can work with them because you tell them to move to a particular area, and they do, but if you're dealing with a piece of plastic that you have to bring to life, it's a little bit more difficult.
Puppets are the biggest divas of them all. There's no negotiation. No, it was really tough, and it was hard with the sort of the element of our shooting schedule and getting everything to work. But I had such a fantastic team. I had some of the best guys in the business on my team with me, and obviously I'm not the size of a guy that could fit under a bed very easily and puppeteer things. But I had some tiny guys on my team that did a really good job of squeezing into corners and closets and cabinets and making these puppets come to life really nicely.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, what type of filming lessons did you guys learn while filming something that's literally just inches off the ground?
Oh my God! I mean, I don't think the panel's long enough to get into that. No, it was such a challenge, but it was great because when you do something for so long. I've been doing makeup for over a decade now, and it's been so long since I've been properly challenged. I mean, actually getting on set and scratching my head and looking at something like, how the hell am I going to make this work? So it really brought a lot of like old things to life, and just it taught me a lot as well. It was so cool actually getting into the puppeteering aspect of things.
Now let's go over to the Puppet Master himself. What was it like working with these puppets? And can you tell us a little bit about the preparation that you did going into the part as well? Excellent.
First of all, I know Dallas. I'm in love with Dallas.
True.
We made a film together in New York. I played a very evil character. Very, very evil.
What film was it?
It's called Brawl at Cell Block 99.
Which is also
The
by...
writer was the director and the writer, and that's where we met. It was nice to do all the... Where was it where we shot it?
Staten Island.
Horrible place. The bar was okay. So Dallas told me, he called me and said, we're doing the Puppet Master #2. And I said, yeah, I know the one from 1987, and now it took all these years to make #2. And I realized that we forget all about number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because they were just made to make money. So, but I read the script, which was wonderful, and I like to be evil. Because I'm privately totally the opposite. I'm a gardener, I rescue dogs, and I stand in front of the school with a lollipop. And I like it because to be evil is nice, because especially women that come to me and they say, you're so evil. I had to say it like an orgasm, and that's wonderful to be so evil that people have an orgasm. I mean, who can do that? Not even Lugosi could do that. So, that's why I made the film. The director, I talked to the director of my previous film who wrote this script. And Puppet Master, you will see it, I'm evil. I'm evil. Without orgasm, I'm evil. And I like it too because, bless you, apple tree. And I liked it because I'm the puppet master, so I become something different when my voice is deep. And I say happy Thursday. So I like the first one, of course. You know, I always, when I did Blade, for example, they wanted me to be in all the movies. I said, no, the first one is okay. Now you're making money, and I don't want, I mean, I like money, of course. But I didn't want to be part of it. And because I know we have no time and I have to make money in the next move, I just want to tell you I have 4 films coming out with Matt Damon, with Joaquin Phoenix, Gus Van Sant, and all these beautiful people. And I'm happy to be here. I was here 2 years ago, and normally I sign autographs for free. And they told me, you can make money. That's what I'm doing now. I make money, man. And I had a good time because yesterday in the bar, of course, everybody wants to buy me a drink, which is I start at the right end and I say, thank you. Cheers. Thank you. By the time I cross the bar, it's time to go to bed. Some strong young man put me like Tarzan in his arms, opened my door and just dropped me in. I was waking up on the floor and I said, where am I? And I realized where I was. So,
we're going to pause on that real quick. Put a pin in that and we're going to circle back to it. Now, Michael, tell us a little bit about Detective Brown.
This apple tree.
I know you just keep going.
Only asked him one question, you get 20 minutes.
That's the hardest story I've heard this week. So,
Look at me as a cowboy.
tell us a little bit about Detective Brown, who he is, how he figures into the script, and how you went about configuring your characterization for him.
I worked with Dallas twice before the Puppet Master. Once with Steven Seagal movie and another one in Bone Tomahawk. And that's really where I met Craig. Craig wrote and directed Bone Tomahawk. So he sends me the script. It's a remake of Puppet Master. I play a detective. Everybody is it's like a convention. In the story, it's a convention like this. And then when the defecation hits the oscillation, they call the cops. And I come in.
I really like defecation hits the oscillation. I'm going to use that again.
I'm in Texas. We're good people here. I try to refrain from profanity. So anyway, I'm kind of like a straight guy. It's like I walk in and I said, "So somebody stole your doll?" And he goes, "No, it's not a doll. It's a puppet." So it's kind of working with Thomas Lennon. Who's a very funny guy. He wrote A Night at the Museum. Right? And so he's had a great opportunity to get a lot of jokes. And I was excited to be working with a big comedian, and I don't have any scenes with Udo, which I was very disappointed, but, it's too bad. So I
say more.
So what do I think about how you played your character, huh? No, come on, it's the Puppet Master. It was going to be fun. I knew it was going to be fun, and Dallas puts on a great production.
Now tell me a little bit about this script, because we haven't heard too much, and we're going to watch a clip in just a couple of minutes, but tell me a little bit about the script here.
I don't know how much I can say. I mean, I pretty much said it. There's a horror convention with these with the puppets, right? And people start dying, and so strange murders. They're little murders, but it's very mysterious. So they call the police, and the police surround the building, and and we're trying to figure out. Once we realize that it's not a man or a murderer, that's where it really gets exciting.
Yeah, I mean, basically, just to add to that, the movie is centered around the concept of World War II collectibles. And so these puppets are basically World War II collectibles, and they're brought back to this convention for an auction. And there's something that triggers inside them when they're all brought back together, and then they start to wreak havoc, and people start to die.
Hence the subtitle Littlest Reich,
That's right.
which is the most adorably horrifying subtitle ever.
That's correct. That's all Zoller.
Well, let's check out this clip. I'm excited to see
great.
it.
Let's do it. So just real quick with this clip, like we wrapped shooting in Dallas literally 14 days ago. So there's none of the visual effects in this clip. There's no color correction yet. You'll see the rods on the puppets. Clearly those will be taken out. But it's really cool and you get to see it, and we've also got a message from the directors.
Ready?
Sorry we couldn't be there with all of you, but we're hard at work editing Puppet Master Littlest Reich. We are big fans of the Charles Band cult classics and are excited to deliver to Puppet Master fans the scariest and goriest Puppet Master yet, to Craig Zoller's new vision for the franchise. To me personally, the cast and crew was incredible to work with. The crew was so kind to us, and they always tried to help us realize our vision. So I hope we can bring something new to the table with this movie. And for the cast, there's so many weird, funny characters in there. To name a few, Thomas Lennon and Udo Kier was a blast to work with. And for Puppet Master fans, I would say look forward to the new puppet designs because they are fucking amazing.
And you can do all with
That looks awesome, guys.
I know.
That's
We're saving you
correct.
for later.
Now see
We
this.
don't die. All those people died.
Seeing this, I immediately have a question for Tate. So when you watch a movie, you also don't think about the element of reset that you have to do on set. Now,
Reset wasn't an option on this one.
yeah, I was getting ready to ask. So it's the idea that you just got blood all over this puppet. Let's say you want to do another take, you have to have a clean puppet to do the take again. How did you guys work that?
Well, it was less about getting the puppet bloody and the entire space around it. Most of our gags, we have multiple levels of blood cannon. We've got your average size blood cannon all the way up to the freaking bazooka that's like 200 pounds of pressure. When you hit the button on that, you paint the room red. There's literally white ghost shadows of where you were standing when you move away from the wall. So that was, we opted to go with the bazooka for most shots. So, I remember one scene in particular. I won't give away what was happening, but let's just say there was some carnage happening in the window, right? And our camera crew was about 15 feet away on the outside, up on ladders with plexi. And the director yelled action, and I hit the trigger, and I might be wrong, but I think more blood hit the camera crew than anybody else. They were literally painted in a second, and before the director could even yell cut, just everyone in the camera crew went shit, completely dripping. And so,
Did you tarp the red? I'm just assuming it was a red. Okay.
yeah. So needless to say, we didn't have options for things like resets. We just had to get it right the first time and get it as bloody as we could, which we did. Yeah, I definitely stained that place forever.
Now, did you have to make different versions of the puppets depending on what they needed to be doing in that scene?
Yeah, we had we had animatronic versions for scenes where, or for shots where we needed to see autonomous head to toe puppets. We had different versions of rod control for each character. Certain versions needed to have rigidity so they could stand on their own legs. Certain versions had to be completely spring jointed so they could get on their hands and knees and crawl. So I mean, it was a crazy affair figuring out how to get all of these motions in. We had probably about 18 puppets altogether. So yeah, it was nuts. But I think you guys are gonna approve. We got some really, really cool stuff.
I have to jump in for a minute. Good stuff. So one thing that wasn't pointed out, one of the reasons why this made a lot of sense to me is I'm a super not fan of CGI, and the commitment was to make these organic puppets on set. These aren't dialed in cartoons. And much more difficult and much cooler because actors get to react to something real, all that blood, Having made now almost 11 Puppet Master films, apparently for money, I gotta tell you, it's a challenge to do it this way. Much easier to do it the other way, so it looks great.
Well, thank you very much.
Out the edges, or what was kind of the ratio of practical to CG?
Oh, it was all practical.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
Other than rod removal and wire removal and some paint outs, that's it.
That's
Everything
terrific.
is 100% practical.
That's
The
very
first
hard to
thing
come by now.
First thing Dallas said to me, he was like, "We are not going to put CG in this film." I mean, early days. So yeah, only rod removal and things like that. Everything you guys see, we actually made happen on set. So I think you're going to be blown away.
Now, Michael and Udo, can you talk a little bit about what it was like interacting with the puppets on set?
I didn't. I created them. I just went to a bar to meet the beautiful women. I look very different than I look now. Yeah. And it's beautiful to do a film again, which was, I always go by the first one. When I did Andy Warhol's Dracula, I went back to that on the voice. So all in between is really, I'm going to say, money making.
Udo was covered in prosthetics, which Tate can tell you about.
How long did they take?
2 hours and 23 minutes.
He was so happy to get out of makeup, he literally scooped me up in a slow dance. Around the makeup room.
Because you have to listen to them all the time. And then put on your face the plastic, and I said, well, last night that woman in the bar wasn't that all that what I accept. So they talk between them, they forget that you are there, you become an object. Well, some more plastic. I'm sorry, could I go to the bar?
The answer is always no. You have to sit there.
You have to sit there, yeah. Well, we have puppets, so you don't have to go to the bar, so we just have a little tube somewhere. But it was, I had a good time because I like people, Swedish people, Danish people, they have a very special sense of humor. That's good, and to see dollars again, dollars and dollars, and I had a good time. And as an actor, once you're chosen, that's a compliment, and especially when I was chosen by the producer and the writer to be the Puppet Master. I was honored to do this because I only had in my mind, which is true, the first Puppet Master. All the others I did not see. When you become an actor, you want to see classics. And that was a classic for me, still is. And I hope that with modern technology and all this that I'm be the Puppet Master number 2. After number 1, it was too long. Speaking French accent. And it was okay. German came through a little bit, but that's evil. To be French with German accent. And I say in the film, well, my mother was German, my father was French. So you explain why there comes some kind of evilness. So that's it. That's and he was handsome policeman.
Investigating. Did you do a lot of interacting with the puppets?
Yeah, I get, originally I wasn't getting to kill any of the puppets, but Dallas decided to put that in, I got to unload on them. And my partner in the movie is the guy who runs the hotel, and he gets killed by a puppet. They think, I get attacked by a puppet, but, I'm a hero, so I don't die.
Take that puppet down.
Yeah, it's fun working with the practical puppets, because you can make eye contact, you can focus it and keep your attention there. Working with the prosthetics, I didn't do it on this one, but they are a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun, and it takes a lot of patience. And they are real artists, those prosthetic people, you got to sit in the chair, and they do look at you like a canvas, and it's fun. I really enjoyed it. But working with the puppets, it's better to have practicals. CGI stuff where monsters, you can do it, but it's not as much fun. We're supposed to be having fun here,
There's
right?
only so much you can do.
Yeah, right. No, a tennis ball.
Yeah.
Tennis ball.
Tennis ball.
Sorry,
We have about 15 minutes left, so I'm going to open it up to questions from the audience. Yes, back there, sir.
What's the plan for release? Are you guys going to do a festival run, or is there VOD?
Sure.
What do you have in mind?
So we have great relationships with all of the distributors in Los Angeles and New York primarily, and so we have secretly sold the movie for a theatrical release in 2018. So we can't give details of that, which company or anything like that just yet, but we have sold the movie and it's going to be out in theaters. So that's really exciting for us, and then we'll work with all of the distribution partners. We've got a great thing with Amazon Prime and with Netflix and Shudder and all kinds of these great companies to make sure that the movie is available as widely as possible. I'm also going to work with Charles very closely on the merchandising side of this thing because
for money.
I hope because I will get money if I'm a puppet.
We're gonna merge and so we're gonna work with Charles. So all of those great toys that he's created for the original universe, we'll have for the new universe as well. Yeah, I also just want to say, these are some of my best friends up here. I mean, I really had a great time making this movie with them. And I've worked with Udo and Michael before, and Tate and I have become fast friends, and Charles and I have known each other for years. And that was what was so great about this movie, was getting to make it in Dallas, which is my hometown, which I've returned to build a movie studio here. And I've got my team here with me today, and it was just really awesome. It was a team effort, and I couldn't have made it without any of these guys up here. You guys worked your asses off. I really appreciate it.
Other questions? Yes, right here.
Is there any chance in the future that there might be a versus universe clash?
What?
That's a great idea.
Is there any chance in the future that there could be a versus universe clash?
Yeah, we didn't. Who knows? I mean, we didn't use Leech Woolman or 6-shooter or any of. There's a couple of puppets we didn't use, and we've also created a lot of our own. One of which you're going to see today, and so there's tons of opportunities. I mean, Charles and we text and email many times a week, and we're always cooking up fun stuff to do. So I could see that happening.
Other questions? Transformers. Yes, right over here.
Oh, this is actually from our Instagram Live. You can follow us. It's at Puppet Master Move. D-Wise asked Charles, what is your favorite Puppet Master film?
Oh, God, I hate these questions. Well, I've made many. The one that we're currently finishing, not to confuse this whole session today, is looking really good. But I think the first one still probably the best, because usually when you do something new and sort of fresh and original, it's really hard with the same canvas to go back and create. I mean, there's exceptions like Godfather 2, awesome movie, but generally sequels, as fun as it is to revisit, aren't quite the impact of the first. So the first, being a good movie, had that, being the first, had that, I look at that movie still more like, wow, that was so cool, especially when we were screening it, the big reaction we had in 1990 when it was released through Paramount. We had letters from people saying, God, we missed this movie theatrically, which it never played. We loved it on video, and I collected a book, because this was way before all this online stuff, and I collected a book of art that kids would send in with their own ideas for puppets. I mean, hundreds of letters came in from young kids who had their ideas of what other puppets,
Did you ever use any?
I didn't, but one day I've got to publish this because they're the most adorable drawings. Some of the ideas, like one was like the farting puppet, No, I mean, these were usually 7, 8, 9-year-olds.
Oh, wow.
So their imagination, and some were really cool, but there were literally hundreds of letters that we got because people were so fat. And these kids are probably here now. They're like all older now.
But that brings up a good point, is the Full Moon movies were very accessible to me as a child, like Demonic Toys, Ghoulies, they all kind of hit with me right when I was about 10 years old. Did you guys try to preserve that kind of tween angle within the movie as well?
Always, yeah. I wanted these movies, I mean, I was a big Marvel fan, still am, so I wanted these movies to be sort of the Marvel comics of the 90s. That was sort of my vibe. And we did crossovers, and then for a while we could afford to do cool things, and the market got kind of crappy. But, whether it was Dollman versus Demonic Toys and others, of course this would be Udo.
I think he has to say goodbye.
I'm sure.
No, I have to make money. But if you want to come and see me, I'm in the next room, and you see the beautiful poster of Dracula. And
A small one-time fee.
I would like to give them away for free, but love is expensive. I just want to tell you, please go and see Iron Sky #2. I'm again the evil guy on the moon, the Nazi on the moon. And in Iron Sky #2, I have a brother. The brother is Adolf Hitler. So I'm coming on the moon on the dinosaurs. Adolf on the dinosaurs. So I kill you
You
all.
said dinosaur, right? You did say dinosaur. Okay.
Bye, Udo.
Why you take my time away? Producer. I said I love him, I do, but he wants me to go now. I see you later, and go and see the Puppet Master. You'll be surprised. Bye.
Zoller took the original. Zoller is darker than most humans in his approach to writing. If anyone's seen Bone Tomahawk, you will understand what I'm saying. And so our version is darker and more serious, but it is funny, and it does, yes, I mean it will connect to a young audience who's discovering horror films for the first time, like I did with Charles's films.
Excellent. Now, I think we have a reveal here. This isn't a lovely pedestal that Udo was sitting on. There's actually something in there.
Yeah.
So if you guys would tell us what this is, and then you may lavishly reveal it to us.
Yeah, Tate, if you want to take this one and tell them what they're about to see, and then that's really going to do it, because everyone's going to come up here and want to see it. But yeah, I just want to say thank you to Rebecca real quick for hosting. Really awesome. And I just wanted to say, we're here in Dallas. Our company's called Cinestate. We're making movies in Dallas and all over the place. We're about to leave to shoot Zoller's third movie with Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn called Dragged Across Concrete. And we're also releasing an audio thriller called The Narrow Caves, which Vincent D'Onofrio and Wyatt Russell and Will Patton and Lily Simmons lend their voices to. And so we're going to be passing out some tapes around the convention today with a clip and then that comes out on audible.com on May 16th. So we'd love for you guys to check that out.
And when people are tweeting and Facebook posting about the movie, which they are all going to do, what hashtag are you guys using?
Justin, where are you?
Just hashtag Puppet Master Littlest Reich.
Puppet Master the Littlest Reich. Please tweet, Facebook post about the movie and help them spread the word.
And Michael, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
And Charles, thank you so much, Tate. And I'll turn it over to you, and you do this bad boy reveal.
I'm going to be the first tourist to shoot it.
He gets first picture, so everyone wait in line. So we're going to introduce you to a few of our friends from the movie. So, as you know, there's been redesigns. You saw a little bit of a teaser of it, and we have the redesign of Blade, we have the redesign of Tunneler, and we're introducing a new character known as the Happy Amphibian. So, he's a lot of fun. So, you guys are welcome to come up, check it out, take pictures, just no touching, they don't like to be touched.
I'm ready too. Let's go. Your face behind these guys.
These guys are shred flash.
There's so little in the movie. There's so many.